Okay, yes, the other one's still going, so we're good. Pause and station identification. Alrighty, so criteria is the foreign plural, and diagnosis is singular. More than one diagnosis, diagnoses, which is a foreign plural, and it's the preferred in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. So that particular word, which is plural, is correct. George W. Bush was president of the United States for most of the 2000s. Whenever you have a number like the 1900s, the 1960s, 2000s, the 2010s, or whatever the case may be, they're the value plus S whenever you're just making them plural. No apostrophe. Only time that you include the apostrophe is when it shows possession of another noun. When it shows possession of a noun, then we'll add the apostrophes. Since there's no possession here, it should just be the 2000s. Okay, scroll this up a little bit. There we go. Many companies offer stock options to their employees. Okay, company is a singular pronoun, is a singular noun. And it's a Y-ending word. Remember, attorney is a Y-ending word that's preceded by a vowel. If a Y-ending word is preceded by a consonant, then you change the Y to I and add ES. So many, more than one company, plurality, companies, C-O-M-P-A-N-I-E-S, offer stock options to their employees. More than one employee, to make it plural, just add S to it. Number 7, all employees' requests for the leave has been approved. Okay, on this one right here, all employees. Employee is singular. To make employees plural, add an S to it, but it is showing possession of their request. Not one request, but multiple requests. So employee is showing possession of the word request, and since it's plural, employees is plural, and it's possessing a plural noun, then we want to make it S apostrophe by adding the apostrophe right there at the end of the word S, as illustrated right there. And so notice we include the apostrophe only when it's showing possession. If it's singular possessive, then it's apostrophe S. If it's plural possession, then it's S apostrophe. Those two choices. But if there's no possession, no apostrophe.
Is that common?
Yes, that's consistent. There are some issues when we get specific with irregular nouns, such as the word child. One child, to make child, I have one child, or you have 3 children. When you change the spelling of a noun, where it forms a completely different word to make it plural, then it's always apostrophe S regardless, with the irregular spelling. So my children's toys, it's always apostrophe S, even though that's plural possessive.
I don't see either. Maybe I don't remember. Seems like I don't see a lot of employees with apostrophe after that.
Yeah, all employees' stock prices, all more than one employee, and the prices, or the stock portfolios, I guess portfolios would be a better word, more than one portfolio, that'd be plural possessive, so you put the S after it. So employee is just a regular noun. It doesn't change its spelling. All it does is add S to make it plural, and then to show possession, add the apostrophe at the end. And we'll look at that more specifically. This is just an overview. It's a pre-test of the material, so we can look at that specifically, and I think it'll probably clarify a little bit more for you. The Wilsons stock portfolio contains a variety of diverse holdings. Generally, when you have a person's name that's preceded by the word the, it means the family unit. So it forces the proper noun to become plural. And then the Wilsons, the family of the Wilsons, their stock stock portfolio, that's going to be plural possessive over the word portfolio, so it'll be S apostrophe as illustrated at the end. Because of her training, Catherine, her salary, one person's salary, apostrophe S, because this is singular apostrophe, is greater than Troy's salary. So that word was removed because they didn't feel the need to complete the word salary. They felt that that would be wordy. That'd be completely up to you. You could, if you felt comfortable in saying because of her training, Catherine's salary is greater than Troy's salary, in order to make sure that there is not a misunderstanding, then it would clearly be Catherine apostrophe S and Troy apostrophe S. They left out the word salary, but it's still possessing that missing word. And then giving 2 weeks' notice, not 1 week. 1 week's notice is singular possessive, which is apostrophe S. But 2 or more weeks' notice is plural possessive, so we add the apostrophe after the S to show plural possession of the word notice. So this is a good overview of things to expect in this particular chapter. It covers every one of these items. Now let's look at those specifically. Okay, first part of the chapter again, common and proper nouns. A noun is a person, place, thing, an occurrence, a quality, an event. A proper noun is a person's name, a city, a state, and they should be capitalized. We'll deal with those specifically, but just to go from singular to plural, no apostrophe! Okay, did I illustrate that one very well? No apostrophe! Okay. So here's some examples of common nouns, like a smartphone, a magazine, an organization, an airline, software, or a professor. Proper nouns, they're capitalized. Samsung Galaxy, Business Week, Phi Beta Lambda, United Airlines, PowerPoint, and Dr. Virginia Green. They're capitalized because they're proper nouns. Now there's some issues with proper nouns, like for example the iPad. The iPad is lowercase I with a capital P. That's just the brand name, and that's the way that it's illustrated. That's its legal definition of that particular brand. So they have a lowercase I and a capital P. So that was the way that they designated it, and we have to follow through with that since that's its legal name. Okay, to make nouns plural, this is a basic. Generally, regular nouns, like the word mountain, just add the S to it to make it plural. A supplier, just add an S to it to make it plural. Supervisor, add an S to it to make it plural. Password, S to it to make it plural. Monica, just add an S to it to make it plural. And the Miller, just add an S to it to make it plural. Those are common, and there's a proper noun right there.
Do you have to say the Miller?
Huh?
Do you have to say the Miller?
Well, just to make the Miller's, now I didn't say the Miller's home or the Miller's stock portfolio. That would be different. So that's a good question. That's a loaded question, actually. And then since it's a mill, it has the word the before the proper noun Miller. That means that that is going to be plural possessive over stock portfolio, or the Miller's home, or the Miller's school, or whatever the case may be. The word the before a proper noun generally means that it's going to be plural. But with the word Miller, to make it plural without any possession, just add S to it. Now, whenever we add a noun after that, like the Miller stock portfolio, then it'd be S apostrophe. But just to make it plural, without any possession, just add S to it, period. No period. Complete thought. Okay, now, we talked about common nouns, just adding an S to it to make it plural. If you have a common noun or a proper noun that ends with S, X, Z, CH, or SH, how did I remember that? Well, easy. Where did it go? Right in. S, X, Z, CH, or SH. SX spells sex. Okay, without the E, obviously. So SX, I can remember that one easily. And then SXZ, and then CH and SH. If you have nouns that end with those particular characters, then add es to the end of them. SXZ, CH, SH. SXZ, CH, SH. SXZ, CH, SH. Form the plural with the addition of ES. So the example here, and there is a, that's not 100% true, and we'll look at the alternative in just a moment. Business ends with an SXZ, CH, or SH, right? To make business plural, add ES to the end. Lunch, SXZ, CH, or SH, add ES to it to make it plural. Tax ends with SXZ, CH, or SH, add ES to it to make it plural. Brush ends with SXZ, CH, SH, add ES to it to make it plural. Sanchez, now we have a person's name. To make Sanchez just by himself, plural, SXZ, CH, or SH, add ES to it to make his name plural. Here's the but. Quiz ends with SXZ, CH, or SH, so we add ES to it, but we have to double the Z. So this happens in the English language quite frequently. This is just one of the examples that they give. I'm sure there's probably another one in there somewhere. Okay, plurality of irregular nouns. When you have to change the spelling to go from singular to plural, other than just adding the S or ES to the end of it, then this is going to change a little bit. Most of these we already know. You've become accustomed from going from child to children, one child to two children, 1 foot to 2 feet, one man to 3 men, one mouse to several mice, one tooth to several teeth, one woman to 3 women. So those are typical nouns that change the spelling to go from singular to plural. So there's the plurality of each one of those irregular nouns where the spelling was completely changed, right? We'll look at those a little bit differently whenever they show possession. Those are going to be the contradictory type of statement to our apostrophe S and S apostrophe rule, okay? Nouns that end in Y have 2 conditions. If the character before the Y is a vowel, just add an S to it. If the character before the Y is a consonant, add ES to it. Oh, no, not with the Y. Back that up. Undo. Edit. With the Y ending, oh, it does say that, doesn't it? If the letter before the Y is a vowel, A-E-I-R-U, form the plural by adding S. On the next page, it does go on to say that if the Y is preceded by a consonant, add ES to it. Oh, let's look at those examples, by the way. There's day and days, delay and delays, journey with the E in front of it, journeys, monkey with the E in front of it, monkeys, attorney with the E in front of it is attorneys, and valley with the E in front of it is valleys. Just add the S. Don't edit this.
It's funny, the kinds of monkeys in the
Oh, don't even go there. Facility. Here is a Y ending that's preceded by a consonant. Change the Y to I and then add your ES. Currency, preceded with a C, which is a consonant. Change the Y to I and add ES. Library, change the character before the Y is a consonant. Change the Y to I, add ES. Army, preceded by a consonant. Change the Y to I and add ES. Quality, preceded by a consonant, change the Y to I and add ES. Supply, preceded by a consonant, change the Y to I and add ES. Okay, Then the next part, if you have a common noun that ends with FF, FE, or F, any of those combination of characters at the end of a noun, to make them plural, the FF ending is always going to be an S addition to make it plural, like tariff. Just add an S to it with the FF ending, add S to make it plural. With F or FE, it can be S or ES or VES to make it plural. In fact, see the FF endings, always an S at the end of it. Now, nouns ending in F or FE, however, follow no standard rules in formation of plurals. So here are some examples, and use a dictionary when in question with the F or FE endings. So add S to it if it's chef. They probably had to use a plural to make this determination. Cafe, just add an S to it with the FE ending. And then look at half. It's halves, Halves, to go plural. Knife is knives, to go plural. And then both forms are recognized with the words warp and scarves. So a dictionary is going to be helpful with some of those. Use the first choice listed in the dictionary. Then O-ending words. If the letter before the O is a vowel, add S to it. If the letter before the O is a consonant, I don't see one, add ES to it. Now, if the O-ending word is a musical term, piano, soprano, add only an S to it, regardless if it's preceded by a consonant or a vowel. So here we have ratio and ratios, portfolio and portfolios, stereo and stereos, studio and studios, tattoo and tattoos, curio and curios. All of those words are O-ending words that are preceded by vowels, so we add an S to it to make it plural. Musical terms ending in O always form the possession with the addition of S only. Cello, banjo, and soprano. Whenever the letter before O is consonant, most of the time add ES to it. So, potato, the character before the O is a consonant, add ES to it. Hero, the character before the O is a consonant, so add ES to it. But both forms are recognized in tornado and zeros, but use the one that's listed first in the dictionary. Okay, proper nouns and surnames, I've already told you about this one. Whenever you have the word the before a person's name, that suggests that the person's name becomes plural. And with Obama, just ends with an A, add an S to it. But if the last name was Gomez, it says the Gomez's. That's how you spell it singular, right? To make it plural, it ends with SXZ, CH or SH, then add ES to it. If it ends with SXZ, CH or SH. SXZ, CH or SH. With the plurality of the Obamas, just add the S to it because it doesn't end with SXZ, CH or SH. Okay, here are other proper nouns like the Robertsons. Add S to it. July's, Germany. Now this could probably be a person's name. Or the two Germanys before the wall came down, right? So a Y ending word preceded by a consonant, just add an S to it. Copeland's, Oropesa, the Oropesas, Elizabeth to the Elizabeths. Just add an S. The most proper nouns become plural by adding S to it. But if a person's name ends with S, X, Z, CH, or SH, add ES to it, like Woods. It's not wood for the singular. The singular is Woods. Mr. Woods wants to talk to you. So it automatically ends with S. Since it ends with SXZ, CH, or SH, add ES to it to make it plural. Lex. Mr. Lex ends with SXZ, CH, or SH, add ES to it to make it plural. President and Bush, or Mrs. Bush, ends with SXZ, CH, or SH, add ES to it to make it plural. Rodriguez, that ends with SXZ, CH, or SH, add ES to it to make it plural. So that SXZ, CH, or SH is where the plurality is formed with the ES rather than the S. Compound words. Those are a little bit more frustrating, I would think. A compound word or phrase is formed by combining multiple words into one word. For example, the word website. Most of the times, to make them plural, just add S to it. Now with the word shelf, it ends with F. Remember, if it ends with F, then it could look in the dictionary if you're not sure what you should do with the spelling of it. But the word bookshelf is made plural by changing the F to V and adding ES to it. And then photocopy, you have a widening word that's preceded by a constant, so you change the Y to I and add ES to make it plural. Okay, then when the written word in open form is two or more words, then look for the compound, look for the principal word and make it plural. So I have one bill of sale and two bills of sale. So the principal noun there becomes the plural. I have one board of directors meeting today, or I have more than one or two boards of directors. The principal noun is where the plurality is formed. I have only one account receivable that I need to deal with, or I need to go through several accounts receivable. So accounts is a principal noun. Here's the mother-in-law, the sister-in-law. I have both mothers-in-law. Both, more than one, both mothers-in-law attended the conference. So one mother-in-law and both mothers-in-law attended the conference. So the plurality is placed on the principal noun. I have one vice-chancellor or two vice-chancellors. Plurality is placed on the principal noun. I have one attorney at law or two attorneys at law. The plurality is placed on the principal noun. Now, if the compound noun, whether written in open or hyphenated form, has no principal noun, the final element is made plural with the word start up. Nothing principal there, nothing that stands out. It's not one start and two starts. Put the plurality on the last word, start-ups. I have one 5-year-old or two 5-year-olds running around. Since there's no principal noun, place plurality on the end. I have one graphic designer or two graphic designers. Place the plurality on the end. Some compound noun plurals have two recognized forms. Use the preferred form first, which is the first one listed in the dictionary. Not one attorney general, but two attorneys general. Not one notary public, but two notaries public. This is the one that gets me. I have one teaspoonful, or I have two teaspoonfuls. That one bugs me. The non-preferred one is the one that I have always moved toward, but the preferred is this first one. So that's one that I would definitely have to look up, and I'd probably have to make a note on this one because I would have the tendency to use it. Even though it's acceptable, the preferred is what we actually go by. Okay, anytime you have numerals, alphabet letters, or isolated words, if there's no possession, don't use an apostrophe, just add your S to it. So W-2s, 1040s, 3s and 4s, the 2010s. When you have uppercase letters, if it doesn't form a word or an abbreviation, no apostrophe. Like 3 C's of credit. The 3 B's, I made 3 B's this semester. Catching her Z's. Alternative, whenever you have the exception to the rule, is generally whenever you have the abbreviations AIM or S, AIMS. Aim at you, AIMU. So remember that the exception to the rule is if you have AIM or U. Whenever you make those plural, think about this one. Looks like I have as. I just capitalized the word as. So if it forms a word and you want to say, I made 3 A's this semester, then instead of making it look like I made 3 as this semester, add an apostrophe to it. That contradiction or the exception to the rule is aim at you. AIM and U. And that's illustrated on the next page where we have the Oakland as. There's the Oakland A apostrophe S because we don't want it to say the Oakland as. M's, we don't want it to be abbreviated as Ms. And at the end of a letter, we have sometimes a postscript. It's a PS, and we don't want to confuse that, so it's P's and Q's.
Why
So-
Q's?
Well, since we did P's, then we'll go ahead and do Q's since those go together. So typically it's AIM and U. Aim at you is the exception to the rule where you actually need to include the apostrophe. And then keep it consistent. And that's why they did the Q's. Ifs, ands, and buts. Pros and cons. Yeses and nos. Oh, by the way, notice 1 yes is singular, 2 yes. Since it ends with SXZ, CH, or SH, to make it plural, add ES to it. And keep that consistent all the way across as well.
So you would say no.
Nos, Because otherwise, if you put NOS, that's an abbreviation for numbers.
Oh,
So that's why. Abbreviations and acronyms, just add S unless it ends with an SXZ, CH, or SH, and then you'd add ES to it. Not near as common, but department and departments, manager and managers, number and numbers, there's your NOS. And then CPAs, CODs, your PINs, if you have more than one PIN. Academic degrees, don't use apostrophes either. It stands for Associate in Arts. I have 2 AAs at Rose State, 2 Associate in Arts degrees. So it's AAS like that. It's an academic degree, that's why it's doesn't include the apostrophes. They remove it specifically for academic degrees. MBAs, and then that should be capital P, little h, and capital D for a doctorate of a doctoral of philosophy. And so they corrected it right there. Okay, as far as measurement's concerned, OZ is singular or plural, depending on how you use it in the sentence. Feet is singular or plural. Kilometer is singular or plural. And kilowatt is singular or plural. But notice that the metric units do not have periods at the end. Pound or pounds, quart or quarts, those do have pluralities by adding the S to it. And yard or yards. Okay, that talks about all of the rules associated with going from singular to plural with no possession. If you indeed want to show possession, there's really 2 specific rules. Is you add apostrophe S or S apostrophe unless it's an irregular noun. They have some other rules to follow to go along with that. I'm going to skip over that and just identify 2 specific rules of apostrophe S or S apostrophe. So whenever I'm looking at a particular word, and I'll say the company's balance sheet, how many companies are they talking about right here? 1 or 2?
1.
1. So now I know that the word company is singular. Now I'm possessing the sheet. So it's this company's balance sheet. So there's a possession, and the word company is really technically functioning as an adjective describing the noun that it refers to, right? So it's showing possession or ownership of a specific work. The company's what? Balance sheet, or the balance sheet of the company. You can reverse it to see if it does indeed show the ownership. Since it's singular possessive, use apostrophe S, because it's a Y-ending word, and to make it plural, just add an apostrophe S to it to make it singular possessive over balance sheet. Now, by the way, the witness's testimony. It's how many witnesses? Even though it has the word the in front of it, remember the makes it plural if it goes before a proper noun. But the witness's testimony. I want to hear about the witness's testimony. Can you tell me how many witnesses they're talking about? One. One witness's testimony. It's WITNESS to make it singular possessive. Remember, it's not plural. If we were making that plural, we'd add an ES to it. But we're making it still singular. To make it singular possessive over his or her testimony, we're just going to add an apostrophe S to it. Okay, now we have an irregular noun. The children's teacher. Not my child's teacher, which would be child. And if I want to make that singular possessive, it would be my child, apostrophe S, teacher. That would be singular possessive. Now with irregular nouns, to go to plural, the children, more than one, there's 2, 3, 4, 5. The children's teacher, since that's plural, then that's plural possessive, which is usually S apostrophe. But because this is an irregular noun, change the spelling of it completely. Keep all irregular nouns apostrophe S anyway, even though it's plural possessive. So that violates our rule just a little bit. Investor, both investors' portfolios. How many investors are there? At least two. Yeah, both. So two. Definitely two. So both investors, and not portfolio, but portfolios, the plurality there. And so we investor, to make it plural, it doesn't end with SXZ, CH, or SH, so we just add S to it to make it plural. And since it's possessive, put the apostrophe at the end. So, notwithstanding irregular nouns, if you're talking about common nouns and proper nouns, to make them plural possessive, it's apostrophe S. If it's plural noun showing plural possession, it's S apostrophe, unless you're talking about irregular nouns, in which case all irregular nouns are made plural by changing the spelling of the word and just adding only apostrophe S. So I hope that helps out a little bit, and I have some other examples a little bit later on. Is that the end? Sure was. Now there are some exceptions to that rule as well. If you have a descriptive noun that looks like it's plural, for example, the Human Resources Department versus the Legal Department. Notice the word legal department. I don't want to make that plural, right? If I said I need to go over to the legal department, I don't need to make legal plural, do I? So if I have a Human Resources Department, I need to go over to the Human Resources Department. I don't need to make that one plural. That's just the name of that particular department. But it's just a specific location, since it's talking about a location. In fact, when nouns provide description or identification only, the possessive form is not used. Writers have the most problems with descriptive nouns ending in S, such as the word human resources. No apostrophe is needed, just as none is necessary in legal department. So the electronics industry, even though there's more than one electronic industry, and it looks like that would be plural possessive, it's not. Just go ahead and make electronic plural, and then no apostrophe, since it's being used to identify a descriptive division. United States Coast Guard, looks like the word states would be plural possessive, but it's not. So no apostrophe in the United States references either. Compound nouns. Editor-in-Chief's office. Okay, I'm going to go visit my editor-in-chief's office. One person. And I'm going to make the principal noun, chief, plural. So I'm going to add an S to it. Since it's singular possessive, my editor-in-chief's office, that's definitely singular possessive, so I'm going to use apostrophe S, which is correct. Now, if I'm talking about both of my sisters-in-law's children are acting up. Both of my sisters, not one sister but two sisters, both of them. So sister is made plural on the principal noun, so I'm just going to add an S to sisters. Both sisters-in-law's children, even though that's plural possessive, the sisters-in-laws and the brothers-in-laws and mothers-in-laws, those are always apostrophe S at the end because we made the plural right there on the principal noun. I have an example of this, so I'm going to go back just a little bit to show you. Okay. One sister-in-law. My sister-in-law's house. That's singular possessive. My sister-in-law's house. Now, both sisters-in-law are visiting. So I made the plural on the principal noun, sisters. Two sisters-in-law. And then two sisters-in-law's homes. Both sisters in different homes. I'm going to show the plural on sister to make it sisters, and then it's just apostrophe S, even though it's plural possessive. Both sisters-in-law's homes. There's the plurality on that particular compound word. So take a snapshot of that particular screen. I think that probably will be helpful for you.
What are the words at the bottom?
Oh, those are
examples.
other words that I just kind of, actually they're really non-related to those particular things. I don't know why I added them there. It looks like I blended the two. But if I have, Dr. Hendricks said earlier, one person is singular. And then if I said Dr. Hendricks's house, Hendricks is singular possessive, just add apostrophe S to it to make it plural. Or Mr. and Mrs. Hendricks's home. Okay, since Hendricks is now becoming plural, it ends with SXZ, CH, or SH. I'm going to add ES to it Mr. and Mrs. The Hendrickses are coming over. Is how this one is. So I just made it plural, so there's no apostrophe. I just added ES to make it plural. Then if I said Mr. and Mr. Hendricks's stock portfolios, then I would add the ES to it to make it plural, and then the S apostrophe to show plurality over their stock portfolios. Mr. and Mrs. Hendricks's stock portfolios, then it's plural possessive. So that's kind of what I was trying to throw in there, but it really should not be related to the sisters-in-laws and mothers-in-laws or any of those other types of compounded words. I think I put that up there for my own understanding more than anything else. Okey dokey. Let's see. Oh, I want to use that again too. Okay, here we go. And then this one right here, several startups, financial reports. Remember, startup doesn't have a principal noun. So if it doesn't have a principal noun, to show the plurality of it, put it on the end. Ends with a P, so we just add an S. Since it's more reports, plural possession, it's S apostrophe at the end of that particular compounded word. Names of organizations, it's up to them. What is their legal spelling? You may have to look that up on a website to find out their legal spelling, because they do not follow any specific rules where they put the apostrophe. Some don't even have apostrophes whatsoever. So Carl's Jr., that they did a good job there. McDonald's, Noah's Bagels, but Tim Hortons, Starbucks, and Sears, none of those have apostrophes in them. So it's their legal name, and they can do whatever they please. Names of people. Miss Laham. Ms. Laham's resume, singular possessive, so it's apostrophe S. Bill Gates' family, yes. Look at this one right here. It's just Bill Gates is his name, right? His family, singular possessive, just add apostrophe S. Mr. Horowitz, yes, I know, it ends with a Z. This one ends with an S. But since it's singular possessive, I'm just adding apostrophe S to the main word to make it singular possessive. Mr. Horowitz, job. Look what happens whenever I make them plural. Singular possession, now it's the Laham's vacation. Ends with, it's Laham, and then goes to Laham's apostrophe to show plural possession. The Gates, G-A-T-E-S, that's the original spelling of the word. Since it ends with S-X-Z, C-H or S-H, add E-S to it, and then put the plural on it to show the Gates' home. And the Horowitz, it ends with Z, S-X-Z, C-H or S-H, add E-S to it, and then put the mark of possession at the end to show it's the Horowitz's business. Plurality. So this one is plural possession, and this is singular possession. Singular, just make it plural and add apostrophe S. With plural possessive, add S or ES, and then make it plural possessive with the possession at the end. Abbreviations and acronyms. FBI's, since it's one agency and it's singular possessive, just add apostrophe S to it. CBS is one network, and their schedule, singular possessive, add apostrophe S in lowercase to make it singular possessive. But both CEO's signatures, not one CEO's signature, which would be apostrophe S, but both CEO's signatures now is plural possessive, so it's S apostrophe. Levi Strauss and Company's company names are always singular. And then if you make them singular possessive, it's always apostrophe S. OSHA, an abbreviation, that entity's inspection is apostrophe S. Anytime that you have a word where, when you look at this, you go, my sister's advice, but her attorney's advice. That's correctly positioned with the apostrophe, but when you have two words with apostrophes in it, it makes it hard to read. Reword it. So change it to the advice of my singular possessive attorney. Completely reword it to make it make more sense. Okay, the next page is challenging. Actually, I think it's easier.
I was going to say more than that.
It's just part 3. Part 3 is generally more difficult, but actually I think it's the easiest one. We've already mentioned this earlier with the word criteria, and then the for in plural is criteria. That's singular. This is plural. And then the alternative is criterions for the English plural, but we use the for in plural. So here's one crisis and multiple crises. the basis or the bases, the appendix or the appendices, the analysis or the analyses. Here's an odd one. Datum, if I have one piece of information, only one datum exists. But we don't use datum anymore. So we do go ahead and say the data is available. And if it's obviously plural, then we say the data are available. So it could be the data is available or the data are available. Technically, datum should be the singular, but we don't recognize datum as a word much any longer.
Just use statistics, right?
Exactly, and on Star Trek.
Right.
Remember datum? Star Trek lovers? Datum. A diagnosis or multiple diagnoses. The emphasis or the emphases, more than one emphasis. Now, on this one right here, this is the foreign plural that we actually use. We tend to use the English plural on the ending of this one. With the foreign versus English, use foreign whenever it's natural, but if it doesn't seem natural, then you can go ahead and use it English. Hypothesis and hypotheses. The medium, media, becomes plural. Memorandum becomes memoranda. Parenthesis and the parentheses. Phenomena and phenomena. Stimulus and stimuli. The syllabus and syllabi. One syllabus or all syllabi. We don't say syllabuses for the English plural, do we? It's all of your syllabi for all courses. And thesis or theses. Now I'm going to go back to the top of that page. And
Is
here's,
this, you just have to memorize it?
yeah, you already have those probably memorized, but use a dictionary. Dictionary will help you with those particular words. Just use the preferred, unless the preferred is not really used that much anymore. Like the word formula, the AE ending for the plural, I would probably just go ahead and add S to make it plural, because that's what most people expect from it. So you use the preferred unless preferred isn't used any longer. These two lines go together. Okay. This is an easy thing to memorize, is the feminine ends with A. Okay, feminine of alumna ends with A. So if I'm a female, then I am an alumna of Southwestern Oklahoma University. I'm a female from Southwestern Oklahoma State University, so I graduated several years ago. I'm an alumna. Or many, if you were a part of a sorority at Southwestern Oklahoma State University, then you can say several alumni is how it's pronounced, alumni, ending with AE. Several of us alumni met at Denny's for breakfast, because several females of that college that graduated met. And so the plurality of the feminine is A and AE. Okay, now, I'm a man, so the alumnus. I'm an alumnus of Southwestern Oklahoma University, talking about me individually. I graduated years ago, so I'm an alumnus. Okay, several men from my fraternity at Southwestern, we are called alumni. Now, we talk about being gender specific, but this word is not caught up with gender specificness yet. So if we're men and women that graduated from Southwestern Oklahoma State University, then we're having an alumni association to encompass both men and women. So that particular word has not caught up to gender specificity yet. But the key component is females, singular ends with A, plural ends with AE. Men, singular ends with S, and plural ends with I. That's easy to remember there. And the dictionary can certainly be of special help. Here are words that end with S that can be singular or plural. Here are words that are usually singular, like billiards, dominoes, economics, genetics, mathematics, measles, mumps, and knees. That's singular. The news is available for you to read on news9.com. News is generally singular. Usually plural. My clothes are in the closet. My congratulations, credentials, earnings, goods, scissors. Hand me a pair of scissors.
Yeah, this is
Usually plural. My thanks, winnings. My winnings are. Huh?
Why do they say a
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
pants. Pants would be another one right there. It's never my pants is, singular pants. It's my pants are. So it's plural. Add the word pants right there to that particular list. And then here's words that can be singular or plural. Chinese, deer, headquarters, offspring, politics. My politics is completely opposite of your politics. Or politics are changing the world. Sheep, species, statistics. Those can be singular or plural. If you use it as singular, put a singular verb after it. If it's being used as a plural, use a plural verb after it. Time and money. 1 year's income is singular possessive, so it's apostrophe S. But more than 1 year, 5 years experience. Now it's more than 1 year, so it's 5, so it's S apostrophe, plural possession. $1 worth, singular possessive. $10 worth, plural possessive. Your money's worth, singular possessive, apostrophe S. Today's weather, apostrophe S for singular possession. And tomorrow's schedule, singular possessive for apostrophe S. Okay, incomplete possessives, where we don't feel the need to put the word that is being owned by the possessive word. I need to run by the attorneys, meaning the attorney's office. Since that word office has been left out, but that's what I mean, and that's what you understand me to mean, which could be the attorney's house or the attorney's office. It's apostrophe S for singular possession. The team members will meet at Patrick's house after the game. Singular possessive, so it's apostrophe S. This year's sales, 1 year, apostrophe S for singular possession, are higher than last year's 1 year sales a year ago. Last year's is singular possessive, which is apostrophe S, even though the sales is left out. Her test scores are higher than other students, not one student. Her test scores are higher than other students' test scores. The word test scores is left out, and there's more than one student, so it's S apostrophe because it's one student. Doesn't end with SXZ, CH, or SH, so we just add S and then put the apostrophe outside to show plural possession, possessing the word test scores. This is the hardest one, I believe. Noting the difference when you have two words that are possessive of a noun. Is it separate ownership of that word, or is it combined ownership of that word? You have to read it for meaning to make that determination. So separate ownership, both landlords and tenants' rights. Okay, we're talking about more than one landlord and more than one tenant, but both the landlord and the tenant's rights. Landlords are completely separate. Separate ownership. If it's separate ownership, then use the mark of possession for both of those words. Okay, landlords, talking about more than one landlord, and tenants' rights. So we add S to it to make it plural, and then apostrophe for landlords' rights and tenants' S apostrophe rights. Those are plural possessive over the multiple rights because they're separate ownership of those rights. Michelle's and Sam's cell phones both rang at the same time. Well, Michelle, you're back there. You're Michelle and you're Sam. Michelle's separate ownership, your cell phone and your cell phone rang at the same time. So Michelle's cell phone Michelle is singular, so it's apostrophe S, and Sam is singular, so it's apostrophe S. And it's separate ownership. That's why they put apostrophe S on both of this, because it's separate. Both of you are not connected with each other. You're two different individuals. Singular possession. But combined ownership, when you have two people that's possessing and they're the same, they're combining themselves, then you only put the mark of possession on the last word. The husband and wife's business. They have one business together, and since it's combined ownership, they only put the possession for singular possession over business. Their business is singular possessive, so it's apostrophe S, showing ownership over the word business. Michelle and Sam's apartment is near many restaurants and cafes. Now, Michelle and Sam are connected. They're living in the same apartment. Since they're in the same apartment, Michelle and Sam's, we just make the latter of the two possessive, and Sam is singular, so we're going to use apostrophe S to make him singular possessive. Academic degrees. Whenever you spell it out, always use an apostrophe S, even if it's more than one. Associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree. It doesn't say the word degree right there, but it's talking about master's degree, so it's always apostrophe S, but it's not a doctorate's degree. It's a doctoral degree. That's what it's referred to. So it has no possession in it at all. Okay, that concludes the chapter as it leads us into the FAQs. There's some fun stuff here because remember we talked about Human Resources Department, the legal department, and those particular words where it's being descriptive does not use any possession. Well, they're going, what about farmer's market? Do I show possession on that one? Because it's a market of many farmers, so do I put a possessive there? Since it's descriptive, her answer is no. So no mark of punctuation for farmer's market. No possession. It is descriptive. And certainly we wouldn't use farmer apostrophe S because it's not one farmer's market, but many farmers meeting together to have a market. So at least, on a minimum, it would be farmer's apostrophe, right? But since it's descriptive, her rule is no apostrophe whatsoever. And then the next one, one member of our staff consistently corrects our use of the word data. He says the word is plural. Is it never singular? Okay, datum is the singular word. My datum is available if I have one piece of information. We don't use that anymore. It's becoming more of a familiar word when data means data. I can talk about one piece of information, so my data is available for you to view on www, which includes one item. Or if I have multiple pieces of data, then I'll say my data are available for you to view. Macy's, this is their trademark spelling, and Walmart's, this is their trademark spelling. But in typing, we probably don't use the star to separate Macy's and Walmart. So we just use a apostrophe Macy apostrophe S and then Wal hyphen Mart to identify it. Look it up on a website to determine the proper use of it. Okay, back to, I recently graduated from college. Am I an alumna, an alumnus, an alumnae, or an alumni of my college? I may have my college degree, but I'm confused. Well, it depends. Are you male or female? So I have recently graduated from, am I an alumni? Am I an alumna? I have to determine, am I male or female? If I'm a female, I'm going to have an A ending word, which is right there. If I'm talking about multiple graduates that are female, then I'm going to have an AE ending word. Okay, now if I'm male, I'm going to have an S ending word. But if there's multiple men that have graduated from a fraternity, then I'm going to have an I ending word. So the women get the A and the AE, and the men get the S and the I. So that we don't know if that person's male or female, so it's hard to answer that particular question. But there's the answer right there. My boss wrote a report with this sentence: sales-wise, our staff is excellent. Wording. Get rid of the word wise at the end of words. Sales-wise, and there's other budget-wise, tax-wise, production-wise. Get rid of the word wise. Nobody cares about that. Change the sentence. You might say, instead of saying tax-wise or sales-wise, our staff is excellent, say based on sales, our staff is excellent. I work at the Supreme Court in Arizona, and I have a problem with the following sentence involving the restaurant chain Denny's. The plaintiff was in fact fired ostensibly for violating Denny's alcoholic beverage service policy. How do I make possessive a proper name that is already possessive? You don't. Leave it alone. It's Denny's. And just continue with that particular use. That is correct. Federal names. Federal parks. The only ones that have an apostrophe in them is, there's only 4 geographical names that have apostrophes in them federal-wise. Ooh, I said federal-wise, didn't I? Get rid of the word wise. Okay. Martha's Vineyard has an apostrophe in it in Massachusetts. Carlos Elmer's Joshua View in Arizona has an apostrophe in it. Ike's Point in New Jersey has an apostrophe in it. And John E.'s Pond in Rhode Island has an apostrophe in it. All other federal parks or federal designations do not have apostrophes. Okay. So Harper's Ferry doesn't have one. It's only those 4. Is there an apostrophe in Veterans Day? That's the only one of the holidays that we don't have an apostrophe in. The rest of them are apostrophe S. Now I've always had a tendency to talk about President's Day with S apostrophe because it's more than one president. But federal government says it's a President's Day. So it's like singular possession. So they like it to be apostrophe S. So here's Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, President's Day, April Fool's Day, and season's greetings. Two more, and then we're done. I just received a Christmas card in the mail that was engraved with this greeting. The Aubreys send their holiday greetings, apostrophe S. It looks wrong to me. Is it? Absolutely. The Aubreys, just make it plural and add S to it. And in fact, I gave the correct illustration right there. And send their holiday greetings, it's just plural, add S to it, and that's it. And then, what's the difference between stationary with an E and stationary with an A? E is a letter, L-E-T-T-E-R. If it's a letter, if it's written on a piece of paper, P-A-P-E-R, then it's stationary, E-E-R-Y. But if it's like a bike or a wall, something that's not moving, it's A-R-Y. Alrighty, that concludes chapter 3. Look at the activities at the end of the chapter and just kind of walk through them. Ask questions online if you need to, or call, visit, or email. And there's also a podcast that's available that goes over the first 5 of each of those sections. You all have a great weekend. All right. Okay.
I can't find the